Almir. I'm a software engineer, and this series is going to be called Commuting with a Software Engineer. Some of you may know me based on my blogs that I post on almirscorner.com and at medium.com/@almirx101. So I've been sharing these articles on LinkedIn. Some of you may know me based on those articles that I shared on LinkedIn and on my personal blog. Most of my blog is personal blog is about software engineering, and some of it is about cars and my opinions about cars, and when I do car reviews or when I go to car shows. But about 95% is about software engineering, my opinions about SDLC, PDLC, certain microservice technologies, all kinds of software engineering topics. I will be talking about different topics in software engineering. I will first start talking about my career in the first episode, and then future episodes will cover other topics, anything from microservices to programming in universities, what courses to take, to building websites, web development, even machine learning that I'm also interested in and I'm learning right now. So let's get started. I went to the University of Toronto, studied computer engineering, and I graduated back in '99. I started university in '94, and it was pretty tough. I mean, the first year a lot of students dropped out. In the second year, more students dropped out. After 3 years in university, I started having fun. I did a pretty cool job at IBM for about 1 year and 4 months, and then I returned and finished the last year in '98 to '99. The economy was really good at that time. I actually got an offer for my first job in October of '98 to start in May of '99. That's how good it was back then. A lot of companies from Silicon Valley were coming to Toronto, to University of Toronto, picking up students, getting them recruited. I decided not to go to Silicon Valley. I decided to stay in Toronto. So computer engineering in Toronto, I mean, if I wanted to find a pure computer engineering job, it was tough. You either had to be a tester in hardware or you had to be a software engineer. So I decided to get into software engineering, but I still ended up working with hardware in some way. My first job after university was at Nortel Networks. I started in '99. It was building the software for telephony systems. So in a way, you had to be in a lab interacting with the hardware. You had to configure the hardware, but most of your time was spent writing software for that hardware. Then so I worked in Nortel Networks from '99 to about 2002, and then in 2002, Nortel Networks had a lot of layoffs. They laid off a bunch of people in my location. I think we had about 600 people in my location, downtown Toronto. About 300 people got laid off. I was still there. Then another 200 people got laid off, and I was still there. So I was among the last 100 people. I was begging to be laid off so I can take the severance package and then look for another job. But then the company eventually decided to move it to a small town close to Kingston. It's called Belleville in Ontario, because the lease in downtown Toronto was too much for 100 people. When they decided to go to that small town, I checked it out. As soon as they announced that same afternoon, I drove to Belleville, Ontario to check it out, to see if I'm gonna like it. It was about a 2-hour drive from Toronto. I checked it out and I was not happy with the town. I mean, it was too small. I mean, I like living in suburbs, but this is isolated from any big city. So I came back and I was allowed to pick voluntary layoff. So I took the voluntary layoff took my severance package. I think that was happening around February of 2002. So I was still paid till May of 2002. So I was paid for 3 months, plus I got the severance package, which was pretty good. I was single at a time, and I didn't have any big obligations. So I took some time off, did some studying and learned some more stuff, and then I decided to look for another job. So I found a job in Bell, Canada, actually in the Bell conferencing division. So I still stayed in the telephony industry. By the way, most of the programming done or software engineering done for these type of for these two jobs was in C and C++. So I worked at Bell Canada or Bell Conferencing for about from 2002 to about I think August 2005. In the meantime, I got married, and my wife lived in the United States in California, and as soon as I finished my job in Canada, I moved to the United States and got a job with Experian, which is one of the credit bureaus. So I worked there. So I've been working at Experian from 2005 till now. So the job, actually, the division that I worked for, or that I've been working for, is Experian Consumer Services. But actually, I work for the UK division of Experian Consumer Services. So that's pretty much from jobs point of view, that's my career. I mean, as I mentioned, I started before I graduated at IBM. It was all work on Unix machines. Most of my work was porting code to work across multiple types of Unix machines. It was C++ code. And I was also doing Perl and Corn shell programming on Unix for the automation and builds. Then I went into Nortel Networks, so that's when I made a jump from Unix into Microsoft Shop. It was all on Windows, doing C++. Then I went to Bell Canada, it was all C++. And then when I got into Experian, it was .NET, and now we are in AWS using microservice architecture. So it's been a fun journey. I'm still working at Experian, but I also like to do some programming and little projects on the side, just to keep my programming skills at a high level. Because right now I'm in a solutions architect role, and a lot of my time is spent coming up with solutions and designs for our platform and microservices. What I like to do on the side, about a couple of years ago, I started doing a little bit of Python programming. I got into Python because that was my way of getting into open source. I've been in Microsoft Shop for so long. Sometimes you take certain things for granted that Microsoft provides to you through Visual Studio or how .NET works. So it's good to get a different perspective and learn a little bit of open source. Then it actually, even if you go back to C# and .NET, it may help you programming in C# if you have been exposed to open source. So after doing a little bit of Python programming for the last few years, I've done some projects. Some of the little projects I've done at work, I took to at home. Some of the projects I've done at home, I took to work, and now they became certain tools at work. I also have done a little bit of Java in the last few years, because our microservice teams consist of C# developers and Java developers. We use Python for any operational items. So the platform automation and pushes and all that is done through Python. but the microservice code itself is written in C# and Java. So that's a pretty cool thing. We get exposure to both two major languages, the programming languages that people use in the industry. That's basically a summary of my career and what I do at home for fun when I'm programming. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode and keep geeking out. I apologize about the noise while I'm driving, but after all, this is commuting with a software engineer. My car is a small car and I have a pretty loud exhaust, so hopefully you can hear me as I'm talking about different topics in software engineering.